Chapter 8. Set the horn to your mouth. As a vulture he cometh against the house of the Lord, because they have transgressed my covenant, and trespassed against my law. Will they cry unto me, My God, we Israel know you. Israel has cast off that which is good. The enemy shall pursue him. They have set up kings, but not from me. They have made princes, and I knew it not. Of their silver and their gold have they made them idols, that they may be cut off. Your calf, O Samaria, is cast off. Mine anger is kindled against them. How long will it be ere they attain to innocency? For from Israel is even this, the craftsman made it, and it is no God. Yes, the calf of Samaria shall be broken in shivers, for they sow the wind, and they shall reap the whirlwind. It hath no stalk, the bud that shall yield no meal. If so be it yield, strangers shall swallow it up. Israel is swallowed up. Now are they become among the nations as a vessel wherein is no value. For they are gone up to Assyria, like a wild ass alone by himself. Ephraim hath hired lovers. Yes, though they hire among the nations, now will I gather them up, and they begin to be minished by reason of the burden of king and princes. For Ephraim hath multiplied altars to sin. Yes, altars have been unto him to sin. Though I write for him never so many things of my law, they are accounted as strangers. As for the sacrifices that are made by fire unto me, let them sacrifice flesh and eat it. For the Lord accepteth them not. Now will he remember their iniquity, and punish their sins. They shall return to Egypt. For Israel has forgotten his Maker, and builded palaces, and Judah has multiplied fortified cities. But I will send fire upon his cities, and it shall devour the castles thereof. Okay, let's go back to verse 1. Now, we left off yesterday, and Hosea, the children of Israel have been returning, but they've not been returning to God. They've been returning to idolatry the whole time, and they have not known it. See, God has taken them and lured them, and they've been taken in a snare that he might show he is God. See, there is a God. And don't be mistaken by what men tell you about these ratchet jaws. God shows himself now, and he speaks. He speaks to everybody's heart. He speaks to man. Deuteronomy says God is alive, and God does talk with men. Verse 1. Set the horn to your mouth. As a vulture he comes against the house of the Lord, because they have transgressed my covenant, and trespassed against my law. Set the horn to your mouth. Give warning. Give warning. Blow the horn. Let everybody know. Trouble's coming. There's a problem. Because as a vulture he's come against the house of the Lord. And this has been a while since this has been used, but the prophets are going to use this vulture many times, because as the vulture swoops down, he spreads out his wings, and it shadows and darkens. And he's come to tear and rip at the flesh. And we're going to find now, just as a vulture, it's a dark day. It's darkness that's swooping down, and it's going to rip and tear, because they have transgressed my covenant. What covenant? Well, the covenant that God made, this agreement that God made. That's what we're talking about, the covenant. This is the agreement God made, that you would obey the law, and he would be your God, and you would be his people. But you've broke that. You've trampled it down, and you've trespassed against my law, the law of God, the commandments, the statutes. And we know why he gave these commandments, these statutes. Why do we have the law? Did the evil man make the law? No, the evil man did not make the law. 2. Will they cry unto me, My God, we know Israel know you? When will they cry unto me? For they will. They will, because they are going to know who God is. God is going to show himself now. God has worked a great miracle in the earth that he might make himself known. 3. Israel has cast off that which is good. The enemy shall pursue him. Israel has cast off that which is good, the law. God give you the law for your own good, that you keep it for your own good. Now, the automatic consequence from that is that the enemy will pursue you. What is this enemy? Sin. Sin and fleshful temptations of every kind. See, why? Because you're brought into this type of existence. God has brought you into this type of existence, and you're punished and you're tempted constantly. You got to learn to trust in God and his law and be obedient. 4. They have set up kings, but not from me. They have made princes, and I knew it not. Of their silver and their gold have they made them idols, that they may be cut off. And that's what was going on in Israel. See, Israel they would murder their king, and someone else would become king. Their sons would become kings from then on. God never appointed these. See, God never appointed these to be king. First of all, he was using the kings to punish. From the beginning, has he used the kings to punish? Why? Well, you chose the king and not God. Their silver and their gold, by their wealth, they've made them idols. By their wealth, they've made themselves wealthy, and the more wealthier they became, the more idols they acquired. 5. Your calf, O Samaria, is cast off. My anger is kindled against them. How long will it be ere they attain to innocency? And this error should be lo, and lo is the Hebrew word for no, or not. And we would read that, how long will it be they not attain to innocency? And it would make a little more sense that way. And what God's asking, how long is it going to be till you understand this? How long is it going to be till you consider this? What, that God's brought this all on you? That this is the work of God? That this is a great example of God? Your calf, this image you've made, this image you've set up, that's what this calf represented. This calf represented a bullock, a young bullock that would be a sacrifice. O Samaria, you place of the dregs, you place of the dregs. 6. For from Israel is even this. The craftsman made it, and it is no God. Yes, the calf of Samaria shall be broken in shivers. And that's what's going to happen, see. This idol, this image they've set up, this image sacrifice they've made, is going to be taken away, Israel. This is the craftsman has done this. God made the craftsman. Yes, God made the craftsman, see. He prospered the hand of the craftsman. Why? Well, he's going to make an example. See, God told you not to do this. Don't make no images. So he prospered the hand of the craftsman in his work, that he might punish the craftsman. For it's no God, it's an image. 7. For they sow the wind, they shall reap the whirlwind. It hath no stalk, the bud that shall yield no meal. If so be it yield, strangers shall swallow it up. They sow the wind. You know what it means? You got a bag of wind here on your side. You're reaching in, you're throwing some wind out into the wind. Boy, that's doing a whole lot of good. You're going to reap the whirlwind. You know, is that what you expect to reap? A tornado? You expect to reap some kind of tornado, grow the wind? It hath no stalk, the bud that shall yield no meal. Consider the wheat. All the wheat grows together. See, in the wheat, it all is relatively the same size in the field that it can all prosper. But we're talking about one that's left out, left down. It ain't got no stalk. It couldn't get up there. Ain't going to have a little bud on it, but it can't get no light. There ain't going to be no meal from it. And even if it is, a little bit of it, the strangers shall swallow it up. And these strangers here are referring actually to those that are estranged, even to the word of God. 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now they become among the nations as a vessel wherein is no value. And we'll see, this is what happens to Israel. They get swallowed up. Swallowed up by what? They get swallowed up by everything. Understanding swallows them. The nations swallow them. They are taken now in the great flood, and even this great flood, if we viewed this all out like we was standing in the ark and was looking out the window, we would see now this is the great flood, and these are going under. These are being swallowed up by the flood. For they have gone up to Assyria. Like a wild ass alone by himself, Ephraim has hired lovers. And they've gone up to Assyria. Assyria is this Asher. They've went towards the way of progress. They've took this step. They've stepped up, stepped forward at the same time. And Assyria is this altar. It's that altar now they've made for themselves. Like a wild ass alone by himself, Ephraim has hired lovers. These lovers he hired was the day he went off and started hiring now the king of Assyria. He went off and hired these to come and help him fight now. Why didn't he go to God? Why didn't he return to God, who had given him the inheritance in the first place? Instead, he turns to all this, the world, the earth, the strength of the nations, to help him instead of God. Like a wild ass, like one on his own, like this ruler or leader that has no understanding. He's been driven out from the pack, and he's not there with the herd to serve the purpose now. 10. Yes, though they hire among the nations, now will I gather them up, and they begin to be minished by reason of the burden of king and princes. Well, even though you do this, even though you go out to all the nations and hire some other king and these princes, and you say, give us help, God's going to gather you up. See, what's he saying here is, he's going to use this as one of your weaknesses. This is your weakness. See, you're going to be minished by reason of this. You're going to be lessened. Something's going to be taken away from you. And what that is your own ability to stand up and think for yourself. See, your understanding's going to be diminished. Why? Well, you're going to obey the king and princes. They ain't going to let you think for yourself. They don't want you thinking for yourself. You better listen to them because, see, you may not be able to think for yourself. 11. For Ephraim hath multiplied altars to sin. Yes, altars have been unto him to sin. This has been the example from the beginning. This is the example we find now. Ain't nothing going to change till you change it. Nothing's going to change till you put the devoted thing away. We ain't going nowhere. We're going to stay right here. We ain't going nowhere. Now go get Achan and everything Achan's got. 12. Though I write for him never so many things of my law, they are counted as strangers. Though I write for him never so many things of my law. Everything about it, every word, they disobey every word. They find a way around every word. See what? Oh, well, that don't count no more. We got this. Well, we look at it this way. See? Well, we got look at it both ways, see? Because why? We are not only trying to heal the spirit, we don't want to have to die to get to the land God promised. We want to be alive when we get there. 13. As for the sacrifices that are made by fire unto me, let them sacrifice flesh and eat it, for the Lord accepteth them not. Now he will remember their iniquity and punish their sins. They shall return to Egypt. That's where they've returned to, Egypt, this land of enclosures. This land of enclosures, closed up, got all these little walls around you. Wake up. This flesh they sacrificed. They even caused their children to pass through this same fire. God is not accepting none of this. It's not acceptable to God. You have to be obedient to the law of God. God's punished you now in your sin. Yeah. Even if you say we did not know our sin, now you know your sin. Turn. Turn. When your sin's made known, turn. Ask God for help. You can't lean on a man because he's going to deceive you every time. 14. For Israel hath forgotten his Maker, and he's builded palaces. And Judah hath multiplied these fortified cities, but I will send a fire upon his cities, and it shall devour the castles thereof. Because that's what's happened. You've forgotten your Maker, the one who created all of it. The one who created it all. And you've built these palaces, these elevated places, these high places. You've built up your great house. Judah hath multiplied his fortified cities. These are places that have a guard. They got a watchman. But they ain't going to do you no good. I will send a fire upon his cities, a fire upon his places of guard. These places he's made, these great places that he controls. This fire, it's the law of God, see. The law of God. There's nothing you can do about it. And it shall devour the castles thereof. These castles is the high places, these mighty places they've made, these exalted places, these places they've lifted up, trying to exalt themselves. They want to be seen, so you can't understand. You think that this is all that there is to it. It's not as simple as this. You have to be obedient to the law. And never has the law been made of none effect. You cannot do that. When you do that, there's an automatic consequence, and that consequence is sin. And we know what God told Adam and Eve. In that hour, you'll die. In that moment that you partake of that, you'll die. Why? That's the automatic judgment. See, the spirit is dead. God can revive, see. God has the ability. Only God can awaken. Only God has the words. Only God knows who you are. Only God can touch you. He's done told you in your heart. You know who God is. You don't have to have an image before you. You don't have to have these things that men have. God speaks directly to your heart. He's been telling you since you was born what to do, the right things to do, instructing you as you go, to keep you from sin, to keep you from the fire. Be obedient to God's law and return to God. He loves you. Let's move on to chapter 9.